Welcome to the Gavel, as we focus on the activities of federal legislators. I am Terry Ikumi. This week on the Gavel, we pay attention to the public and investigative hearings conducted by the National Assembly in the second week of its 2 weeks recess, beginning with the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts. The committee held a series of public hearings with ministries, departments and agencies to look into their accounts in the last 5 years. It was quite disturbing for the lawmakers to find that a number of these MDAs had not been audited in years. On Monday, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts met with the Refugees and Migrants Commission. The lawmakers did not anticipate the inconsistencies in figures that followed.
Zonal intervention is actually 2.249.
2.2?
2.249.
So what's your capital? Your capital will be 3 point what?
6.12. That is the whole. That 6.120 is actually the total budget.
The Deputy Director of Finance told the lawmakers that the document was prepared by the Head of Planning, Research and Development, but she denied it.
Is Madam in your department?
No, she's under PRS.
So she authority, she prepared it?
She's the one who compiled. She compiled the information.
The account job is to give me the details. Then I'll just compile it and put it in the form that it is. So I don't know anything about the money or the compilation.
The lawmakers could not hold back their disappointment.
The Director of Planning, she's not an accountant. I don't expect that statement from you.
I'm just resuming from leave, and then I wasn't the author of this document, but I take responsibility as the head of the department.
Okay,
I'm just appearing to the presentation. I wasn't part of this position that brought up this document.
When did you assume this position?
I came to the commission in October last year.
October 2019. And what is the date on this document?
No, what I'm saying is when this document was.
Answer my question.
The date of this document is maybe last month or this month.
Is that what?
June 2020.
June
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
So it means you had taken up this position before this document was turned into Parliament.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I didn't hear that.
What I mean is that you had assumed office before this document was prepared and turned into Parliament.
Yes.
Did you go through it?
That's what I just explained. Sir. I said I was on leave. I'm just resuming from leave. I was not part of the presentation of the preparation of this document, but I'm just, and I say I also take responsibility as the leader.
Yes, your leave was from when to when?
My leave ended last week.
When did you start the leave and when did it end?
I started in May, sometime in May. It ended last week. And this document has been presented before I resume.
So at the time this document was prepared, you were not in office?
I wasn't on seat.
You were not in office?
Yes.
So who prepared the document?
My department.
My
department.
Your department?
Yes.
And,
that's why
I you didn't supervise it?
I take full responsibility.
No, wait, please. Just answer the few questions. It's not as if you are not taking responsibility. We have to get certain things done right. Because we are talking about a document that you are defending.
Yes.
A document that is supposed to emanate from your office.
Yes.
A document that even your boss was supposed to rely on because you will be the author of that document.
Yes.
And you are only coming here to take responsibility for not properly scrutinizing that document.
Yes.
Raises a lot of questions.
Within the week, the lawmakers continued their rounds of public hearings with the Ministry of Water Resources. They accused the ministry of making unlawful payments.
This document is about 1.8 million naira out of the 12 million. And the narration here is that somebody got money for allowances for 83 contingents, allowances for 7 coaches, hiring of training venue at XYZ. So that hiring, we will look at it first aid box, water, drinking. So why are you paying allowances to people through a third party? Why were they not paid on their own?
If as a permanent secretary, you were not there when this transaction was carried out, but I'm just asking you now because you are a permanent secretary. Assuming that a memo is sent to you that 1.8 million will be disbursed to a number of people, will you approve that memo without knowing the number of people and how much each of the persons that are supposed to benefit from that amount of money will get before you approve it as a permanent secretary?
No. If you look at the memo, the list is there. How many contingents are going to be there? No, sorry, it's not there. That is the memo, but the names are not there, which we are saying we will get from you.
Ma'am, I have read this memo. Ma'am, yes, I've read this memo in and out. Okay? You see, what we are trying to do here is this, ma'am, is to clear this matter so that you can have rest of mind. Okay, and we are asking you a very simple question. Out of 12.3 million naira, we've seen a payment voucher of 1.8 million naira, and we are simply asking a very simple question. Yaya collected, contrary to the provision of the circular or treasury circular rule, Yaya collected 1.8 million. He shouldn't have taken more than 200,000. He collected 1.8 million. And on behalf of certain staff of your ministry, okay, give us the list of those staff who took the money in, from Yaya.
I said, we don't have it here.
Okay.
If you can give us the time, we will sit down and start for it and put them together.
Yes. Take note, Mr. Clark. So what we are going to do, ma'am, is while you go back, or while we are waiting for the Auditor General of the Federation, Mekana General, to furnish us with releases on this project, okay? Our library here will get copies of the budget appropriation for the relevant years in question, and then we'll find out the actual sum that was actually released to you. And then you've also admitted making 448 million naira payment to the contractor.
The lawmakers also fumed at the absence of the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, who failed to honor the committee's invitation. According to the chairman of the committee, there are issues raised by the Auditor General over the finances of the ministry which must be addressed.
The PS refused to turn up. The head of service should take note of this. The best Mr. President can do for any citizen in this country is to saddle an individual, such persons, with an opportunity to be of service in this country. Mr. President will not do that job for the person. So to invite a permanent secretary to come and appear and defend auditors' queries, and for such citizen to ignore the invitation of the parliament, is an indication that such a person is incompetent to man such office. The permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture should cause appearance unfailingly.
At another public hearing, the committee summoned the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mr. Adeniyi Adebayo, and the management of the Standards Organization of Nigeria to appear before the committee on the 26th of June. According to the committee, the resolution to issue the summons was due to the refusal of the Standards Organization of Nigeria to appear before the committee for the purpose of rendering accounts. The committee is accusing the Standards Organization of Nigeria of holding the Auditor General of the Federation hostage by not rendering accounts.
The Honorable Minister of Industry is hereby summoned to cause appearance along with the DG of Standard Organization of Nigeria to appear before this committee to answer audit queries and to also defend his non-rendition of accounts for some financial years. They are to cause appearance unfailingly. The DG, we've invited him severally to come and answer audit queries, outstanding audit queries, and to come and tell this parliament why he has refused to render accounts from 2014 to 2019. We don't believe that is bigger than the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or that is above the law of the land. If he has nothing to hide, If he has nothing to hide, he should cause appearance. He should tell us why he has refused to render accounts to the Auditor General of the Federation for the period under review, and for also refused to come and, answer existing outstanding audit queries. These are the reasons why we have summoned his parent minister to come along with him to appear before this parliament.
For the lawmakers, public office holders must be properly trained and ready to give account whenever it is needed. Now let's move to the upper chamber now, where the Senate Committee on Customs is accusing the Nigerian Customs Service of failing to reflect its operational surpluses in the report it submitted to the committee. We'll also hear from the Senate Committee on Power.
During an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Works, the Deputy Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Sanusi Umar, said the service generated 573 billion naira between January and May this year from a total targeted revenue of 957 billion naira for the 2020 fiscal year. According to him, the agency was able to meet more than half of its target revenue for 2020 because of its efforts to block leakages.
The actual impact of COVID-19 will be sometimes in June and July, but we don't expect that to happen, in as much as we are trying to do our best to mop up and to block all avenues of revenue leakages. But for now, I believe if the CG were here, he will appreciate it if we still maintain the new figure that you give us and see what happened between July and August.
But the chairman of the Customs Committee, Senator Francis Alimihena, accused the agency of not reflecting its operation surpluses in the reports before them.
In the last year, you exceeded your target. And because you exceeded your target, the federal government gave you share of surplus. They gave you a target of you got percentage from that surplus, which was captured in your budget to us. Now, what he is saying now that we want to tell people in custom now is that surplus money that you have, which is surplus you did not use, which you are going to you carried over. Anytime you are bringing a budget to us this year, always show it. Disclosure. That disclosure. This is the money we are carried. We did spend. We are carrying forward. Then by the time you'll be using it, then we know that yes, it is this money that you carried over. Here now there is no sign that you carry any money over here, which means that this budget is not even complete, as he said to us.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Power, Senator Gavel Suswam, says he is alarmed at the lack of coordination in Nigeria's power sector. Speaking to journalists on the sidelines of a public hearing on the power sector, Senator Suswam lamented that despite the huge funds pumped into the power sector by the federal government, there is not much progress in terms of providing sufficient electricity to Nigerians.
There is a serious misalignment in the power sector. And the reason why, in spite of the huge expenditure, we've been unable to achieve anything has been because there's no proper coordination. And so once there is an alignment, there's proper coordination. That yes, if we generate 13,000 and transmission is able to transmit at least 10,000 and discos are able to absorb that 10,000 and there's proper tariff, it makes the sector solvent, the sector become liquid. We're spending huge amount of money paying for debt that is already owed. And you hear 701 billion. These are monies that are paid to money already owed to the generators. So that is not going to add anything. So we must begin to get out of that. Focus on how do we address the issue of the infrastructural deficit in the power sector. Let's spend money on metering. Let at least meter about 80% of those who are connected to the network, and then be able to collect enough money to make the sector liquid. The problem is the insolvency of the sector. That is what the problem is.
Well, thanks for staying with us. Welcome back to the Gavel. Our next report is from the House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs. The committee met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs over the demolition of the Nigerian embassy residence in Ghana, and the lawmakers were visibly upset. At the meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, lawmakers described the demolition of the Nigerian embassy residence in Ghana as total disrespect and an international embarrassment. Although the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the action was carried out by non-state actors, the lawmakers proposed sterner reactions, suggesting that it was time to go beyond diplomacy.
Honorable Minister, I think it's about time we took a very huge leap, a decisive measure in ensuring that they regret their action.
What measures are you putting in place to ensure that nobody dares this kind of action again? Because I can assure you that if you don't take steps, it will happen again. It's happened in South Africa, it's happened in China, it's happening in our backyard. The next one you hear will be from either Cote d'Ivoire or even Togo here.
It's like somebody going to the presidential villa and breaking the gate of Mr. President, because every ambassador is representing Mr. President. And as a nation, an independent nation, and as a house, a responsible house representing the people, we will not, under any circumstances, condone or take that insult from any country.
The minister updated the committee on how the federal government is handling the matter to avoid a diplomatic row.
We are now at the stage of establishing the legal status of the property, since there are those who are claiming ownership. We have our own documentation that we are putting together to also assert the ownership.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives joined the meeting midway and held back nothing in expressing how he felt about the incident and how best he thinks the country should handle the matter.
If, peradventure, just for argument's sake, it was the U.S. Embassy that was demolished in Ghana, do we think the U.S. will be talking about apology? We'll look into it. That's what I want to know. Let's be a little bit more stern, a little bit more aggressive in our approach. The days of being trying to be diplomatic and be a gentleman, I think we should put that aside, especially because there's something in law called recidivist. It's the second time it's happening. If we establish that this is a dispute, it's not a dispute between landowner and a country, it's actually demeaning Nigeria.
The minister also addressed the attacks on Nigerian businesses in Ghana.
There was a legal provision that was enacted about foreigners being involved in retail trade in Ghana. Being involved, excluding the involvement from retail trade. And of course, this is in conflict, with the provisions of the ECOWAS Treaty on free movement of persons, goods, and services. And Mr. President sent me as a special envoy to meet with the President of Ghana on that occasion, and again to communicate our strong concerns and condemnation of what was happening to Nigerian traders on that occasion. And the Ghanaian government was obliged to direct that all the shops that had been sealed should be reopened, and engaged with the Ghanaian Traders Association to allow Nigerian traders to recommence trading in Ghana.
Our final report begins with news that excited many Nigerians as far as cable television is concerned, and ends with a meeting between the House Committee on Insurance and health professionals.
At a meeting with the Director General of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, members of the Ad Hoc Committee of the House of Representatives, which is investigating the non-implementation of the pay-as-you-go tariff plan by the cable service providers. According to the lawmakers, Nigeria is a huge market for multi-choice and as such must enjoy the pay-as-you-go service being enjoyed by other countries where multi-choice operates, and even better. On his part, the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission assures the lawmakers that the process to ensure the pay-as-you-go tariff plan will be hastily pursued and implemented.
We have already taken a decision that pay-as-you-go is not going back. That's the decision we have taken. We will call you to rub minds with you so that you can tell us what it takes. Nigerians have spoken to us. Ever since this committee was set up, we have received a lot of memos, calls everywhere. And what the challenge they threw at us is that no matter what it takes, that they need pay as you go. So I want you to have it at the back of your mind that we are not here to exercise academic this thing. It is pay as you go. That's the duty that we owe the people that we are representing. So don't think that, when you told us about the issue of electronic, the bottlenecks around it, that we will be patient to wait until that time. You need to find a temporary solution at the moment, which is to say, okay, you liaise with these people, the Customers Protection Agency, and then sit with these service providers and negotiate the rates which the content arrive in Nigeria, negotiate it properly. So have it at the back of your mind that pay as you go for Nigerians is not going back. It's a project.
Obviously, it's something that the regulator will have to implement, yes, and revert back to Parliament. So as we live here with a firm understanding that no matter what assumed difficulties are there, that in the interest of the Nigerian people, right, that this policy of pay as you go must be pursued vigorously. So you have the support of the broadcast regulator in giving life to this policy directive. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Insurance has frowned at the lack of data and life insurance for public workers, especially those in the health sector. They expressed this position at a meeting with the Nigerian Medical Association and National Association of Resident Doctors, who recently embarked on a strike over lack of life insurance for their members.
To start with, we don't even have next of kin registered. We have not been enrolled, which is in breach of Section 57 of Insurance Act 2003, which specifies that no policy on insurance shall be issued without the name and other details of persons to be insured.
You are saying clearly that no one has ever approached you or your group? There is no data collected from you at all?
I thought that in normal places, such things should not even be asked for. We know we have the right. We cannot push into the Ministry of Health. It's something that they should own up, without any pressure.
The problem of insurance cover for public workers is a major issue which may have been ignored for so long, despite the existence of the Pension Act, which gives legal backing. Many families of deceased public servants say they are yet to receive their benefits. The lawmakers were upset that the insurance companies are working blindly.
Somebody saying that he is either a broker or an insurance company. To who? To the ministry? Is it the ministry? Is it the student that you're protecting? You're trying to protect the individual, which means you must have each and every individual data.
If we are to be insured, the insurance must cover and must be seen to be delivered to the members of those who love their loved ones. For example, late Dr. Adedoba has sacrificed her life for this country. And if we cannot do anything much to remember those kind of heroes, they have left us here to continue the battle from where they stopped. We must be able to do something to their families.
Well, that's it on The Gavel. Thanks for watching. Remember to send feedback to The Gavel at channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Bye-bye.